Hello everyone and welcome back to PHYMICS. Have you ever wondered how a government knows exactly how much steel to manufacture, or how a single new bridge can accidentally cause a massive boom in the trucking industry? Today we are unlocking the ultimate mathematical cheat code for the global economy, the Leontief Input-Output Model. Developed by Wassily Leontief in the 1930s, which actually won him the Nobel Prize in 1973, this model takes the chaotic, tangled web of modern industries and turns it into the clean, solvable math. Let's break it down. Before we build an economy, we need some ground rules. Leontief's model relies on 4 key assumptions to keep the math from failing out. Number 1. Single product. Every sector produces strictly one homogeneous good, no side hustles. Number 2. Constant proportions. Inputs are used in fixed ratios. Think of it like a strict baking recipe. Number 3. Constant returns to scale. If you double the inputs, you get exactly double the output. Number 4. No substitution. You cannot swap ingredients. If the recipe calls for steel, you can't just use the plastic. Now let's look at the master equation that balances the entire economy. X equals AX plus D. Here, X is the total output matrix. It is the grand total of everything we make. A is called the technology matrix. This is our recipe book. D is the final demand matrix. This is what everyday people actually buy and take home. To solve for X, because we usually want to know how much total stuff to produce, we have to do some algebra. We move AX to the other side to get X minus AX equals D. We factor it out using the identity matrix to get I minus A into X equals D, and then multiply by the inverse. This gives us our golden formula: X equals the product of inverse of matrix I minus A into D. But wait, before we blindly crunch numbers, we have to ask, is this economy going to survive, or is it doomed? To answer this, we need to enter the Hawkins-Simon conditions. To be viable, the diagonal elements of our recipe matrix must be less than 1. Logically, you can't burn more than 1 unit of coal just to mine 1 unit of coal. Also, the determinant of the matrix I minus A must be greater than 0. Because this math is so bulletproof, it has a massive real-world applications. Economists use it for national planning, policy analysis, price modeling, and even tracking pollution footprints across entire supply chains. Let's look at what a collapsing economy actually looks like mathematically. Let's look closer at viability. If we take 2 units of coal to mine 1 unit of coal, the system will collapse. A system is only viable if it passes 3 tests. First one, the common sense rule. The output, that is X, is always greater than or equal to 0. You cannot produce a negative amount of goods. Second is self-sufficiency test. The main diagonal element of the difference of identity matrix and technology matrix must be greater than 0. Third is the determinant of identity matrix minus technology matrix is greater than 0. It must be positive. Let's look what a collapsing economy actually looks like mathematically. Imagine a 2-sector system of electricity and steel. To make 1 electricity, you need 1.5 steel, but to make 1 steel, you need 1.2 electricity. If we check our system-wide test and calculate the determinant, we get minus 0.8. Because minus 0.8 is less than 0, the math is screaming at us. The status is collapse. The system eats more than it creates. Let's get back to a working economy and look at technology matrix A. Here is the secret to read it. Columns going down represent the consumer, and the rows going across represent the supplier. If we look at the agriculture column, the recipe for 1 unit of agriculture might need 0.2 unit of agriculture like seeds and 0.3 units of manufacturing like tractor or fuel. Because A is just the recipe for 1 unit, we multiply it by our total output X to get AX, which is our total internal consumption. So the economy's balancing act is simple. The grand total X must equal what factories consume, that is AX, plus what people want, that is D. When doing the math yourself, be aware of the factoring trap. When you have IX minus AX equals D, you might want to factor it like X into 1 minus A. Don't do this. In matrix algebra, X is a column matrix and A is a square matrix. You cannot multiply a column by a square. The math completely breaks. Since X is on the right side of both the terms, you must factor it out on the right. That is, I minus A into X equals D. And when multiplying by the inverse, you must pre-multiply. If you post-multiply, the X gets trapped between matrices. The right way is to place the inverse matrices next to each other so they multiply to give the identity matrix I, leaving us with our final formula X equals inverse of I minus A into D. Alright, let's solve a real world problem. We have a two-sector economy of agriculture and manufacturing. The demand is 50 for agriculture and 60 for manufacturing. We just follow 5 steps. Step 1. Extract the matrices. Build your technology matrix and demand matrices from the given data. Step 2. Calculate the difference of identity matrix and technology matrix. That is, subtract your recipe matrix from the identity matrix. Step 3. Viability check. Find the determinant of the difference of identity matrix and technology matrix. Here it is 0.60. Since 0.60 is greater than 0, the situation is viable. Step 4. Find the inverse. To find the inverse of 2 by 2 order matrix, just swap the diagonal, flip the signs of off diagonals and divide it by the value of determinant. Step 5. Multiply your inverse by the D matrix. The final answer is, we need exactly 115 units of agriculture and 105 units of manufacturing to keep this economy perfectly balanced. And guess what? If you have a 3-sector economy with agriculture, manufacturing and services, you do the exact same 5 steps. Find the 3 by 3 determinant, calculate the adjoint matrix for the inverse, multiply by demand, and you get your required outputs. So what did we really just learn? First, the economy is an infinite loop. Steel needs coal and coal needs steel. Second, that magic inverse matrix we calculated, that is the multiplier. It tells us exactly how much extra stuff we have to produce just to survive the factory process. And finally, the domino effect. If a city demands a new bridge, they need concrete. Concrete needs electricity. Electricity needs coal. And moving that coal requires truck. Without even trying, a single bridge creates a massive hidden boom for the trucking industry. And that is the beauty of Leontief Input-Output Model. If this video helped you master matrix economics, hit that like button and subscribe to PHYMICS. And let me know in the comments what mathematical mystery we should solve next. So this was it for the video. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.